Hey now, Cage Siders. It's your boy Sean Rueter at S1Root on Twitter, CagesideSeats.com, writer of stuff, and Pat Patterson, Gerald Briscoe rolled into one person, second in command to Gino Morosco's Vince McMahon. How you doing? It's House Afire coming at you. Talk about the issues of the day in pro wrestling, and there is really still pretty much only one. Not in a Highlander sense. Maybe. That'd be kind of cool if there was a news story Highlander. I don't know what I'm talking about. CM Punk dropped hey, it is what it is. He dropped another pipe bomb on the shoot world of pro wrestling this week with his Art of Wrestling podcast appearance on Colt Cabana's podcast. You should go check it out if you can. I know there's been technical issues. Demand's been so great for it. Again, Gino was insane and awesome enough to transcribe the whole thing for you, and I'll include that link down here by the time you're watching this thing, if you are watching this thing, because I know everybody was just dying to know what does Sean think, because, you know, that's probably something that no one ever thought ever. But hey, maybe we'll get a few hits out of it. So, and I do think about stuff. That's my cat, one of them anyway. Wow. So it took me a while. I mean, I'm still processing it, honestly. I don't know. I mean, as I said in one of the comment threads, I mean, one of the things that's great things about wrestling that I really love about it, even as we get more and more information that it's just really bad for people to do it in terms of their physical and mental well-being, is that we never know. We never know. We're never going to get a full, you know, if there was any such thing in life anywhere, we would never get full, like, magic Wonder Woman's magic lasso around somebody compelled to tell the truth version of anything. So there's always room for this kind of speculation. For this, I mean, in sports, it's, you know, talk radio fodder. On the internet, it's just another day. You know, he said, she said. What do you think? What do I think? I mean, it's compelling stuff. I mean, it can be banal at times, and it can get to a point where we get a little snippy with each other, or worse. But it's interesting. It starts conversations, and so here we are. So I don't know. I don't know. This is not gonna be a hot take where I come out conclusively and tell you that CM Punk is right, or Triple H is right, or Ryback is right. It's just sort of, you know, it's my rambling on what I think of it, and what I think of it is it's pretty fucked up. You know, like you needed to click on something to hear somebody say that. I think there's a lot of truth to what he says. He's not the only voice in the room on this, but he is a unique voice in that he is out of the game right now and financially secure, and seems to have other job prospects, pop culture wise, comic book writing, talk show circuit, eventually a podcast of his own, I'm sure, possibly even a couple MMA paydays. Doesn't seem to need them, and I think that's unique. I think even, I don't know, I mean, I would imagine at this point that Jericho probably doesn't need them. Who knows? Austin's got alimony and those gimmicks that come in the mail, bills, so, you know, maybe he still does need them in a way that Punk doesn't. At least right now, I don't think CM Punk is financially beholden to them in any real way. So I think that gives him a different perspective. For people saying, well, you know, why doesn't, you know, Davey Boy Smith come out and level some concussion accusations at them? It's because he doesn't want to burn that bridge in the way that Punk obviously has no problem throwing a Molotov cocktail onto it. So I do give him a little bit more credence than, you know, the argument that why isn't everybody saying this? Because not everybody is in his position. I would argue that probably no one else is in his position. If it's true that for his entire time with the company he was saving money and, you know, only needs to spend money on Blackhawks tickets and his weekly run to the comic book store, he'd maybe, you know, $5 million in the bank, earning interest and some investments, maybe enough to take care of him for the rest of his life, and he doesn't care if he never gets another call from Vince McMahon. So I think that's unique. I do tend to, you know, just side with the, I guess it's the populist in me. I tend to side with the individual over the corporation. I've done enough work for organizations that, when you get enough people together, things get rationalized. Treating people like crap gets justified in the name of the bottom line. And, it doesn't mean that Triple H or Vince McMahon is an evil person. It doesn't mean that they're not. I don't know. I don't know either one of them. I have no backstage information on this. But like I said, from my personal experience, with profit involved and multiple people involved, and CYA, and that's cover your ass if you're not familiar with that acronym. Um, things happen. People get pushed to do things that they normally wouldn't be asked to do. I mean, look at the NFL. Same sort of situation. Do I believe that coaches and people who were invested in the outcome of that day's show, that day's game, asked somebody to do something that they probably medically shouldn't have asked them to do? Yes. Do I think that somebody's gotten benched over a grudge, or to send a message to somebody else, or so the alternative to that in the pro wrestling Punk analogy is, did he lose a match that he probably should have won? Yes. I believe that all those things happen, so I give Punk a lot of credence there. All that said, I am a CM Punk fanboy. I'm a mark for the guy. This is a freaking ECW hat that I bought in like 2007 because I was so pumped that he was in WWE. Um, I started really getting involved in writing about it and thinking about it on a whole nother level when he did drop the pipe bomb in 2011. So he's a guy that I'm a fan of as a performer. I think he's an incredibly important figure in the history of the art form, game, whatever you want to call it. So but all that said, I think he's a human being, and I think he's got a little bit of the dickish arrogance to him that is required to get to the level that he got to, especially when he didn't already have the golden ticket of bodybuilder physique, or being Triple H's best friend, or whatever. I mean, I don't know if you believe that stuff. Obviously, the look matters, but I don't know about the friendship stuff. So, yeah. So I think he's got a chip on his shoulder. I think he's a little bit of a jerk. I think he'll tell you that. Or he's got a really low tolerance for fools, kind of a thing, which is another thing that I kind of respect about the guy. But does that mean that in his head, I mean, this is another thing that I've seen in my decades on the earth and in working with other people. You get with you work with people who think that their shit doesn't stink, and and then their version of events gets warped in their own head. So it's not even that he's out there telling a lie, but he thinks that all of this stuff was done specifically to screw him, when it was actually just, it's there to screw everybody. It's democratic. So I think there's that too. I mean, I don't think that, what my personal opinion, and just that, is that I don't think Vince McMahon does anything to individually screw over anybody. I think Vince McMahon is all about his bottom line and growing his company. I think that's why he doesn't sleep. That's why he doesn't do anything other than watch, WWE products. And I think that's why AJ Lee hasn't been buried, or, done anything that doesn't get done to any other diva, even though she's married to this man who left them in the lurch and is now, saying things that could possibly lead to lawsuits against them. I don't expect her to get buried in any significant way. I think, he seems to genuinely like her, and he sees money in her, so she continues to be on his product and featured in a way that will continue to draw money for him. And I think that's the way it goes. It's a business, and that's it. I mean, I think the important things are, like I said, the thing that makes it hard to be a fan is the same stuff. Again, not to keep going back to that American football analogy, but knowing that these people that you cheer for and boo and who entertain you week in and week out are potentially killing themselves for your entertainment it requires some cognitive dissonance, or some rationalization and justification from us as fans. And there are days when I'm better at doing that than others. From a strictly fanish perspective, something that leads me to side more with Punk is, and just, sort of does make me mark out in a meta level, is his, finally coming out and saying you know, I should have beaten Triple H in 2011, and that killed my push, and that was done for business, because that's been my contention for since it happened. I mean, that was the end of whatever decision to not put him in the main event later on, never giving him a Mania main event. I mean, that was when that started. If he, I mean, the rise that he was on and the groundswell of fan support that he had at that point should have taken him to the Cena level, and to get there, he needed to beat Triple H, like, you know, probably fairly easily. Or if he were going to do this, you know, the Kevin Nash run-in thing, and he should have beaten both of them on his way back to the top, as a sort of mini Daniel Bryan underdog arc. So that's, you know, again, I can't separate any of this from my fandom, and because it's all a work in one way or another. I mean, everything in life is. I mean, Punk is putting this out there to try to sway public opinion in some way. I think he likes the attention, so, you know, it's probably not his primary motive, but it's a motive. It's in there. It's screw these guys. It's make sure I stay in the conversation. It's all of those things. So, you know, I wish there was a clean answer here, but I don't think there is. And, you know, unfortunately, this is, you know, it is a business where we're going to continue to watch people that we cheer for get injured and worse. So that's a decision that everybody has to make on their own, is how okay they are with that. And can we continue to support it, or do we believe that our being fans or talking about it online or anything like that has the potential to change anything? I don't know. I mean, you would think that the concussion lawsuits in the NFL and things like that would lead to some change. You would think that Benoit or this would lead to some change in wrestling. And I guess maybe we're seeing some incremental stuff. We don't see everything behind the scenes, so hopefully it does. For me personally, I mean, I guess I'm sort of a part of the industry now. I do get paid to write about it on a site that's doing fairly well, thanks to all of you guys, and thanks to Punk, because, you know, he does something like this and our hits go through the freaking roof. You know, I'm part of that system, so I got to make my own justifications for it. But, you know, in the meantime, I'll keep buying merch for guys I like, and I don't know if that's, you know, in my head, I think that helps. I think it gives them a few pennies, and I think it sends a message to the boys at the top that that there are people who are willing to spend money on these guys, even when you book them like crap, and we'll go from there. I wish I had a better answer for you. So, you know, you, me, all of us as fans, whatever side you end up coming down on, you know, keep the discussion civil, and we'll just keep trying to deal with it.